At SummerSlam 2025, Gunther faced CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And for 30 minutes, everything inside that advertisement-filled WWE ring felt pure, unadulterated, and intentionally made to stick out from everything else. It was a refreshing breath of real oxygen that, to be quite honest, we as fans have not breathed in a while. It was awesome, and it was heaped with praise by most. But beneath the consensus, there were some ugly symptoms of something bigger, something that has been taking shape for quite some time. I mean, there were ridiculous narratives running rampant from people who thought the match was too slow or that nothing was happening, and these are the effects of this new age mindset that WWE has helped to create. This is the cinema-fication of professional wrestling. So I think most people are roughly on the same page when it comes to 2025 WWE. The shows are lifeless, the atmosphere is non-existent, and to be honest, there's like a sad dystopian corporate vibe on every single show. I mean, this is shown no better than the Raw on Netflix premiere from back in January. And all of that really stifles any attempts at unadulterated, pure wrestling, if they're ever even attempted at all. And the best example I can give of this is Logan Paul. So let me ask, is anyone entertained, even like a little bit, by his stuff on TV? I mean, if we were all in one room and I asked for a show of hands, who likes Logan Paul's television work? You might get one timidly raised hand from like a teenager in the back of the room, but other than that, I don't see anyone else raising their hand. I mean, who's he for? Like actually, like think about it. Like in reality, who is he for? Well, if we're being honest with ourselves, he's for nobody except the TikTok algorithm. Now right now he's paired with Drew McIntyre, and for obvious reasons this is very damaging for Drew. This isn't the Drew we know, and the Drew we know would punch Logan's teeth down his throat. So despite some agendas that run around online, let's make it perfectly clear, Logan Paul is not a good professional wrestler. Not even a little bit. He's athletic, but that's about where it ends. And he is there to solely enable the biggest side effect of cinema, which is virality. Clicks, hollow, meaningless attention online. So now that we know what the biggest ingredient of WWE's cinema approach is, virality, what happens when these two things come together? What happens when cinema meets virality? Well, to stay on the same note of SummerSlam 2025, after night one ended, it was obviously time for night two. And going into night two, there were some nightmare possibilities that were realistically in play. John Cena turned babyface the Friday beforehand. Now the fact that John turned babyface so close to the pay-per-view raised a lot of eyebrows, mine included. And it left me wondering, what's the next story beat? I mean, this can't be it, right? I mean, nobody really thought this was it. And in fact, the most popular theory going into night two was a Cody Rhodes heel turn. Now, for so many reasons, this was stupid. He's still really their only top babyface, and he's still stupid over with the crowd. It would have been very untimely, and to anyone who's asking for it, I just have to believe that they were hunting for a moment. A shot of needless cinema that they wanted because Cody was boring them. I mean, it's like a drug. People needed their fix of cinema, and I'm convinced that if it didn't happen in the way that it did, which we'll get to that in a minute, don't worry, I'm convinced that people would have been very disappointed in the show. So what ended up happening? Now, I think we all know. People got their fix, and after John and Cody wrestled each other's best match of 2025, Brock Lesnar returned. Brock returned to the company after 2 years, and yet another unnecessary moment was created, all in the name of cinema. Now, obviously, on so many levels, this was messed up, and I won't even dive into the ethical concerns surrounding this, because it's a whole nother thing that we're not going to get into, alright? Now, while there was a fair amount of backlash at the return, and rightfully so, I mean, let's be real here, there was also this chilling excitement around his return. For some reason, people were into it despite the ethical concern. And it was all because they got swept up in the very hollow moment. They got their fill of unnecessary and morally questionable cinema, and just like that, they were satisfied. So how did we get here? How do we arrive at this part dystopian, hollow, ethically empty version of WWE in 2025? I mean, it's not just something that is happening, but it's not affecting anyone. It's actively affecting people's consumption of wrestling. And this wasn't an overnight procedure either, but rather this was a years-long process. The disappointment shown towards the Gunther and Punk match and the addictive satisfaction shown towards Brock Lesnar's return really blinded anyone from being able to even entertain the fact that this was morally questionable. We're at a very worrying time here in the industry, and the way people consume wrestling is just crooked. The way some people consume wrestling. But back to the bigger question, how did we get here? Now, what if I told you that what got the ball rolling on all of this was one of the most over and profitable storylines that WWE has ever ran? I'm talking about the Bloodline. Now, before you either click off this video or run to the comments to tell me how much of an idiot I am, just hear me out and bear with me. So I want to take you back to October 25th, 2020. It was the date of Hell in a Cell that year, and the main event was Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. And don't get me wrong, relative to your average Thunderdome stuff, this was good, but it got the ball rolling on something more harmful than we could have ever really envisioned. The match devolved into this attritional war of emotions and war of words between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Lots of dialogue, lots of melodramatic acting. I mean, everything that you can think of that's very reflective and in line with what WWE does in their main events in 2025, it kind of got started here. And while this stuff was probably okay in the Thunderdome given the circumstances, we're at a completely different time and it's not needed anymore. None of this melodramatic stuff is even necessary, yet it's still happening. Now, the character dynamics within the Bloodline were some of the most thoughtful and creatively expansive ideas that we've ever seen. I mean, it was great. You knew how the members of the Bloodline felt about their respective members, and you knew all about the dynamics. It was incredible. I mean, it was kind of an approach to wrestling storytelling and a deeper approach to wrestling storytelling that we've never really seen before, and I don't know if we're gonna see it again in the same vein. But at what cost? Now, the dynamics between these wrestlers set up angles or post-show moments which have become the brand new norm, and they have fundamentally altered the way in which people expect their wrestling to be presented to them. I mean, gone are the days where you could just end a pay-per-view and that's that. No extra stuff at the end, no extra fluff. But why would you do that when you can have a viral return that does numbers on TikTok or anything like that? It feels like WWE stays hunting for these unnecessary, needless moments that only dilute the product. And unfortunately, if I'm honest, the Bloodline set this precedent. So how do we fix this problem? I'm not just going to present you with a very worrying trend and then walk away and not expect to give an answer on how to fix it. I'm not going to do that. So how do we fix it? How do we get out of this rut? Well, I think it starts with more fans being open to broadening their tastes in wrestling. I mean, go back and watch stuff from different regions or different periods. It'll give you a new perspective. Look, I'll link a playlist in the description. That's some of my favorite classic matches. I've watched them a lot, and you should go check it out. It's a great playlist. Has 300 some matches on there from so many different regions, so many different periods, and I highly suggest that you go check it out. So to reverse this precedent, it starts with fans even being willing to open their eyes to some of the stuff that's gone down in different regions and in different periods, because that will begin to chip away at the very homogenized state of modern day wrestling. Fans will enjoy more stuff, they'll enjoy different stuff, and they will force companies like WWE to shift the way in which they present their wrestling. So please, go watch something new, whether it be old or current. Just go watch something that you haven't seen before, and it might give you a new perspective, or it might just change the way you consume wrestling fundamentally. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, guys. See ya.